Welcome back, everyone. So, if you've ever felt that absolute pure high of a closed deal, followed almost immediately by the crushing, heavy weight of a lost opportunity, well, you are definitely in the right place today. In this explainer, we're really going to get into the details of this topic, breaking down a fascinating source text called The Motivated Seller: Harnessing Intent and Overcoming Rejection. We're going to completely dissect how you can actually engineer your own motivation, basically turning yourself into an unstoppable force in sales. We're skipping the fluff today. We're focusing strictly on the concrete, structured approach laid out right in our source text. Let's dive in.
Right off the bat, I want to pose a central question to you. How do you win the emotional tug-of-war in sales? Because, let's be real, sales is rarely just about having that perfect pitch or a flawless script, right? At its absolute core, it is a deeply psychological battlefield. Literally, every single day, you're pulled back and forth between confidence and doubt, between taking action and, well, hesitation. I want you to keep this specific question in the back of your mind as we go through today's concepts. Why? Because answering it is the whole shebang. It's the key to mastering the seller's mindset.
Okay, moving to section 1, the ultimate sales booster and finding motivation that lasts.
So, we are definitely not talking about accidental motivation here. There is a massive, massive difference between fleeting motivation and motivation that actually lasts. Fleeting motivation? That relies on fragile, temporary feelings. Like having a perfectly brewed cup of coffee or blasting a hype song in your car. It's nice, sure, but it completely shatters the second a prospect hangs up on you on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. The text identifies lasting motivation as the true, ultimate sales booster. This is a structural core. It's what keeps you pushing forward no matter what temporary setbacks pop up. Honestly, your main goal here is to move completely away from that fragile side of the spectrum.
Which brings us to section 2, the emotional tug-of-war, or the internal battle of the seller.
Now, this isn't about your battle with a competitor or even a really tough client. No, this is about that invisible rope pulling you between actually taking action and just giving in to hesitation. Notice the exact phrasing right from our source material here: to win the emotional tugs of war. Plural, because it's not just a one-time event, is it? It happens on literally every cold call, before hitting send on every email, and at every single door. And hey, experiencing this internal push and pull doesn't mean you're failing. Not at all. It is just the baseline psychological state that every sales professional faces. The difference between the average reps and the elite ones? It isn't avoiding the tug of war altogether. It's knowing exactly how to win it.
All right, section 3, the power of intent, which is basically your secret weapon. So if the emotional tug-of-war is the internal battle we're all fighting, then the power of intent is your absolute secret weapon to definitively win it. Think of intent as the heavy, solid weight holding down your side of the rope. But what does that actually look like in real life? Well, intent isn't just some vague, fluffy wish to do well. It's a specific, deeply rooted why. It could be a tangible financial goal like providing for your family, or maybe a really passionate mission to solve a specific problem for your clients, or even just a hardcore commitment to mastering your craft. When you have this crystal clear intent behind why you are selling, those fragile temporary feelings, they just no longer dictate your actions. Your intent anchors you. It really is a game changer.
Moving on to section 4, facing rejection positively. This is the external obstacle.
Once your internal mindset is totally secured by that anchor of intent we just talked about, you have to face the inevitable external reality, which is, of course, rejection. Overcoming this isn't just about having thick skin or pretending it doesn't hurt. Our source makes it clear that it's actually a trainable, step-by-step method. Step 1 is literally just learning that method. In practice, this means intentionally detaching your own personal self-worth from the prospect's no. You have to start analyzing the rejection purely as data. You figure out what can be improved in your approach, and then you immediately reset your mindset by reconnecting with that anchor of intent. Then, step 2 is applying this method to face all outcomes positively. Processing rejection suddenly becomes this procedural skill you master, rather than some personal defeat you just have to endure.
I really want to put heavy emphasis on this exact directive straight from the text. Face all the outcome positively. Look at that word all. The source is making a deeply ambitious guarantee here. It's talking about fundamentally rewiring your response so that literally any outcome, whether it's a super harsh rejection, a frustrating stall, or a closed lost deal, is faced with a positive mindset. Imagine a prospect just completely shooting down your pitch. Now, without intent, you'd probably spiral, right? But with intent, you apply the method. You realize their no doesn't change your personal mission one bit. You learn from the interaction, and you use it as positive internal momentum for the very next call.
Which brings us to our final, and honestly, probably the most important question. Next time you face rejection, what will your intent be? We've really seen today how finding lasting motivation is directly tied to the power of intent, and how that specific intent provides the exact method you need to win the emotional tug-of-war and face literally all outcomes positively. So, here is my challenge to you. The next time that rope gets pulled, please don't rely on fleeting feelings. Visualize your anchor, step right into the method, and ask yourself, what is my intent? Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.